Go back to math bomb. Okay, well, math bomb didn't work for you, so why would just going back to math bomb for a second or third time work? Something different needs to exist. So what we're doing is creating options for students. So it's like opening Fairhill, saying there's at least 225 students in the city who Fairhill might be a really good option for them.
Young people need to have different options to go through high school because not all young people are the same. And so the system we've had where high school is just exactly the same, like a cookie cutter everywhere you went in the country, isn't going to work because, kids are different and their lives are different and their needs are different. And so you need different pathways for young people to get through and get their degree.
So we are calling our office multiple pathways. And the reason for that is, one, when a lot of people think about alternative education, they think like disciplinary schools or bad kids, and we're like, no, it's just that there are lots of different ways that students are going to graduate. So we need to come up with what those pathways are. And for some students it might be Fairhill, for some students it might be Edison High School, for some students it's a vocational school, for some students it's enrolling in classes at community college. There's lots of different things that might work for people. So we just need to say that all the options are equal, and we need to have lots of different options for people.
And so I think we have to make a case for alternative education and identify young people earlier, again, for that intervention, that maybe the regular standard school setting is not giving them the kind of help and support that they need. We need to move them quicker to the alternative education site where they might find more success.
I think that what we need to do is think about high school very differently and even middle school differently. We need to create smaller, more personalized environments for young people and have teachers who really understand it's part of their job to really mentor and interact with young people, not just sort of get up there, lecture, and close the book, and that's it.
Welcome to the Midday Cafe School Days edition. I'm your host, Sandra Dungy Glenn. Happy to be here with you again for another hour. We're going to have a very interesting program today. We have both the audio program that you're listening to, and there's some video going on here in the studio at WURD. My guests in studio today are students and staff from the Fairhill Community High School. And our topic today is confronting the dropout crisis. What do you think, or what do you hear from your peers? Why do we have such a crisis? Why do students say they are dropping out? Why did you drop out?
Well, for me, the reason why I dropped out of school was because I really wasn't interested in school. I didn't see the seriousness of me needing a diploma for myself in the future. And the reason why I think other people drop out is because, number one, you got to feel like you belong to something. And within your school, if your teachers or your principal or whoever is not giving you that kind of support, whether it be with whatever you go through at home or in school, or not giving you that kind of that love and support to keep you in school and show you that this is what you need, you're going to go to other places.
Well, I think that the reason why people drop out of school is because they have nobody to look up to, and they don't have a figure role model. And I don't think it's right, because nowadays you can't get a job without a diploma. I think you should just finish school.
My name is Christian Santiago. I'm 16. I like to play sports. I got here because I got kicked out of my old school. When I get out of high school, I would like to go to college. And one day I would like to own my own business. And I just want to have fun this summer.
A lot of times I've heard young people say, I dropped out of school, I was running with the wrong crowd, I got influenced by my friends, and then 2 years later I realized it was hard. It was hard. It was hard to find a job. I wasn't going to be able to, if kids who have children themselves, I wasn't going to be able to raise my children. And so now I'm ready, I realized it was time for me to come back.
Fairhill came about as an idea that we had. The community high school, the original school that IECI ran, was a school that was dedicated to high school and middle school students in West Kensington who had problems in their previous school and just didn't fit, dropped out, had family problems, any reason that may have interrupted their education. and we're looking for a place to return and to finish high school.
Fairhill is an accelerated school. Fairhill is designed to be a 2.5-year program. We accept students between the ages of 16 and 21 who have dropped out of high school or have even failed 2 or 3 years. We actually have a student graduating now who the highest grade she actually reached was 6th grade, and she spent 3 years in 6th grade. So we take those students that struggle, that have dropped out, and when you take a 19-year-old kid or an 18-year-old kid and you say, okay, you're ready to come back to school, you dropped out, you spent 2-3 years out in the streets, you're doing whatever, working, wherever you are, now you're ready to come back to school, and you look at them and you say, okay, you're 19 years old. If you go back to your traditional high school, which is 4 years, 19, 20, 21, 22, you're going to be 23 years old when you graduate from high school. At 19 years old, can you do 4 years of high school? The answer is no.
If you're older and you don't want to go back to 9th grade, if you're 17, you dropped out of school, you don't want to go back with 14-year-olds. And so having schools like this, where you're with students your own age who have decided to become serious about school, I think is a great opportunity.
We provide services for our students here. A daycare service, like I said, we have a full-time therapist, a full-time social worker, we have a dean of students, and we try to reach every aspect of the student's life. And this is how we look at it. We look at it as there's a box, and inside of that box is the student. And surrounding this box are different services. You have your dean of students, you have your therapist, you have your math teacher, you have your English teacher, your history teacher, your chess club. You have all of these different activities and people surrounding this student. And the student comes to Fairhill and they pop in and out of these boxes. And the goal is that the student has everything that they need here. And if we can't provide it for them here, we have someone here that knows how to get that service for them. So we try to make it like a one-stop shop for our students.
One of the things that the school district is doing is reducing school size of high schools. We all know that when teachers know kids and know them by name and care about them, the kids take to that and are less likely to misbehave.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on is the size of our school. We're extremely small, 225 students, and when you have a school that small, every faculty and staff member gets to know something about the students here. Every student that walks by, you at least know their name, and you know one little thing about them, their brother, their sister, their parent, a little bit about their family. And that becomes a community, that becomes a family when you start to know.
I think you guys had a really important point on you had something on your list of questions, and it was about teachers. And you were asking me about quality teachers, but I again would like to flip that question back to you. You're in the classroom, you've been in schools all over this city. What do you think makes a quality teacher? And how does that play into a student's desire to be in school or not be in school? What do you think about that, teaching?
Well, my definition of a quality teacher is someone who comes to work every day and not so much forget about themselves, but come to work and know that their responsibility is to make sure that your students go home with something new. And if they don't go home with something new or not learning anything, then you're not doing your job. You're getting paid for nothing. So I think that's a problem too in school, because a lot of teachers just, okay, well, I gave up on these kids, whatever they have about, whatever their opinions are about these kids in their mind is how they act. So.
And Dale, from your experience, what percentage of teachers in your school career would you say were good quality teachers, and what percentage would you say were not good, bad, ineffective?
Honestly, I could say 50-50.
About 50-50, okay.
There are studies that have shown, and common sense tells you, that when the teacher believes that you can succeed, you're more likely to succeed. When the teacher expects you to fail, you're more likely to fail. And that's true of parents and their children, as well as adults and children in other settings as well.